Good afternoon from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 6:21 p.m. on the 20th of October 2024. As promised, I'm coming back to make part 2 of the Isis and Osiris story that I was reading to you in part 1, but I had a lovely unexpected surprise of a visitor, so I've had a little break in between, and that was lovely, and got to see my neighbour from down the road stop by. So yeah, very, very delightful surprise. Very happy about that, actually. Just shows you how lonely it gets here at Sacred Space. Never mind, the space must remain sacred, and I enjoy my little unexpected visitors from friends and neighbours. So we'll continue on with reading. We were at the part, let me just do, Isis was trying to find the sacred name of the god, the sun god Ra, or Ra as I was taught to pronounce it, and he was dying of a scorpion bite, I think it was, and he was reluctant to give her his secret name. So as he was about to die late in the evening, he waited till he was almost at death's door. It continues on. You shall have my name, come closer so it passes from my body to yours. Then he closed his eyes. There was darkness. He went deeper and deeper into himself. He took his name from his heart and placed it in my heart. One day, he said, you will tell my name to your son, and my name will shine in his eyes. Isis then turned to the woman and said, with Ra's powers, I will cure your child. Isis took the child from the mother's arms, massaging his throat with salt, barley bread, and garlic. She shook him and chanted, poison of Tifan, do not enter. Poison of Bethan, go into the earth. Poison of Messan, fall down. Poison of Mestatef, do not penetrate. Poison of Petet, recede. Poison of Thetet, do not rise. Poison of Martin, do not travel. I am Isis, the goddess of magic. All beings who sting, heed my commands. Poison, recede, withdraw, retreat. The fire went out. The sky became clear, and the poison left the child. Isis gave him back to his mother. The rich woman offered Isis gifts. Isis told her to give them to the daughter of the fisherman. The rich woman filled the hut of the marsh girl with gifts. 6 months later, in a bed of papyrus, in the presence of the sky goddesses of the delta, Isis gave birth to Horus. She took off her red shawl and wrapped Horus in it, tying it with a magic knot to protect him. Then she disguised herself as a beggar woman and left Horus in the day to search for food to bring to him at night. One evening, as Isis was returning late to Horus, she heard him crying. The Tiet knot was undone. Saliva dripped from his mouth. Water streamed from his eyes. Just something wrong here, just see, just for a moment. My goodness. Where was I? His body was limp. His pulse could barely be felt. Isis picked him up and put him to her breast. Her breasts were like an overflowing well, but the child could not drink. My child, my fatherless child, save my child, Isis cried. I have left him alone too long. Surely this is the work of Seth, who will help me. It was night. The gods were in the underworld. Isis cried again and let out a low moan. The fisher people who lived in the marshes came running from their huts. When they saw how weak the child was, they too wept, but no one knew how to cure him. Then a woman who had a reputation for learning came up to Isis carrying an Ankh sign, the sign of life. Isis, no, you can't restart me now. Sorry, dear goddess. Isis, do not despair. All these interruptions today. But it's only one interruption, and that was a happy interruption. So we'll go with that, babies. It may not be Seth who has harmed your child. You are far in the north. In these swamps you are protected from him and his followers. Seek another cause. It may have been a scorpion or a snake that has bitten him. Isis put her nose in Horus's mouth so she could know the smell from the inside of his body. Then she shrieked, "Poison! Horus has been poisoned!" She shook her child and leapt about the marsh like one on fire, crying to the gods, "Re, your son has been bitten, your heir, the one who carries the kingship of Shu, the infant of the marshes, the innocent, fatherless child, the child I watched over who gave me hope, the child who would avenge his father's death. Horus, Horus has been bitten." Isis fell to the ground. Horus cried out in pain. Everyone wept. The wailing filled the marshes. The next morning Nephthys came running to her sister in tears. "Isis, Isis," she cried, "what has happened?" What has happened to the child? Call to the heavens, beseech the boat of Re. Call to him, and the cosmic winds will cease. Re will not sail the sunboat while Horus is dying. Nephthys picked Isis up from the ground and said, "Speak, mother of the god, speak for your child." Then Isis let out a piercing wail which reached the heavens. The sunboat, the boat of 1,000,000 years, stopped. It did not move from its place. Thoth, the god of justice, descended and said to Isis, "Lady of magic, you whose voice never falters, have you forgotten your power? Just because it is your own child, have you forgotten your spells? Atum has promised you. Atum has decreed that no one may harm the child." "O Thoth," Isis said, "you have great wit, but how slowly you act. Have you brought your magic? One disaster follows another. Look how the child trembles. Seth destroyed his father. If Seth destroys the child, it will be the end of Osiris. All this time I have borne Osiris's death because I have been waiting for revenge. But now, Isis, Do not be afraid, Thoth said. Nephthys, stop your wailing. I have brought the breath of life to cure the child. Keep your heart strong, child. Do not let it weaken because of the fever. Thoth then took Horus in his arms and, shaking the child, began to chant. The protection of Horus is the falcon who flies in all realms. The protection of Horus is the winged beetle in the sky. The protection of Horus is the underworld whose faces are reversed. The protection of Horus is his own body. The protection of Horus is the magic of his mother. The protection of Horus is the names of his father. The protection of Horus is his own name, such is the way of all sufferers indeed. Wake up, Horus! The sunboat remains in the place of yesterday. The boat will not sail, the crew will not travel until you return to earth. The demon of darkness will cover everything. There will be no season, no shadows, no crops, no life until Horus is healed for his mother. Poison seep into the earth. Let all hearts rejoice. I, Thoth, who was sent by Atum to heal Horus for his mother and for all sufferers, decree: poison, retreat. Your car, Horus, your life force, is your protection indeed. Remember that, planet Earth, every mortal being alive, your life force, your strong power and will to live is within you and is indeed sometimes your only protection. Mamati has spoken from personal experiences here many, many times. The poison left Horus. Thoth gave the child to Isis and spoke to the people, saying, the child is cured. Go to your homes. Horus is healed to his mother's delight. No, wait, Isis cried. I beg you, Thoth, speak to the people. Ask the women who dwell in the marshes to help guard the child. Then Thoth said, women who live in the province of the sky goddesses, you who loved Osiris, protect this child. Protect the child of Isis. Let no rebel harm him. Let the boy reach manhood and take his rightful place on the throne of his father. I must leave now, for they are waiting for me on the sunboat of evening, which will soon change to the sunboat of morning. I will announce to Osiris that his son is well. This news will bring joy to the gods of the sunboat. Horus lives for his mother and for all sufferers. Horus is cured, but the fate of Horus is with you. I leave the child, Horus, in your protection. At the same age Horus had been when he sent out from Egypt. Osiris had been when he set out from Egypt. Horus left the delta for the court of Heliopolis. He stood before Re and the other gods and claimed his right to the throne of his father and to the crown of the two lands of Egypt. Thoth, the god of justice, brought the double crown of Egypt to Re. Shu, the son of Re, said, Father, Horus and Seth stand before you. Deliver your judgment. Let justice prevail over strength. Give the double-horned crown to Horus, the rightful heir. Then Isis cried, O north wind, rush to the west. Tell Osiris the news that he has been waiting to hear. Tell him his son will be king. Stop, Re thundered. What do you mean by deciding for yourselves? I am the master of the universe. The world dwells within my coils. Shu, did you not come out of my mouth? Isis, are you not the child of Geb and Nut? You are all my children. Why then do you act like this? The gods answered, Horus is already wearing the name ring of Osiris. Seth, the son of Nut, stepped forward. He ruled Upper Egypt and he wished to rule all of Egypt. Father, he said, let the child prove himself. Let Horus fight with me for the throne of Egypt. Thoth protested. If we let them fight and Seth is victorious, shall we give the throne to the stronger one while the rightful heir stands before us ready to be king? Re was silent. He preferred his lonely brooding son, the guardian of the night. The gods sensed Re's annoyance and were silent. After a time, one of the younger gods said, We do not know what to do. We cannot take action when we do not know what is right. Let us write a letter to our mother. Let us write to Neith, the mother of Re, who shone in the primeval waters. Neith is the oldest. She will know what to do. The other gods agreed and said to the scribe Thoth, In the name of Re, write a letter to Neith, the oldest one. Thoth wrote, Atum, who rules over Upper and Lower Egypt, sends word to Neith, the oldest one, the mother of the gods. Re wishes you to know that he passes his days attending to the business of the two lands and his nights worrying about Osiris. He does not see what to do. But you who shone in primeval times, you who were in the hall of truth when everything was decreed, tell us, what shall we do with the two who stand before us now in the tribunal? Write and give us counsel. Neith's reply was immediate. If you do not stop this wickedness, I will cause the sky to come crashing down on your heads. Re, double Seth's property. Give your two daughters, Anat and Astarte, to Seth, and give the throne of Osiris to Horus. Thoth read Neith's letter to Re and the other gods. At the end of the letter, the gods cried in one voice, The goddess is right, Neith is right, Horus shall rule over the two lands. But Re, who still did not like Horus, muttered loud enough for Horus to hear, You can hardly stand on your own feet, and your breath stinks. The gods were shocked at Re's insult. Baba was the first to recover. Re, he said, have you looked at your own shrine lately? It's empty. No one goes there anymore. Re was hurt. He left the hall and went to his tent and sulked. The gods turned on Baba and the ram god and said, Go away. You've committed a serious offence, disturbing Re. The gods went to their tents and slept. Re laid on his back and brooded. Pardon me. Then the great goddess Hathor, the lady of love, poked her head into Re's tent and winked. She smiled mischievously. She tiptoed into the tent and, grinning, lifted up her skirt, revealing her private parts. "Looky, looky," she squealed. "Look and see." Still giggling, she skipped out of the tent. Re could not keep from laughing. His laugh rose up in his belly and bounced about the tent until he stood up. Re went back to the assembly and said to Seth and Horus, "Speak, and we will listen to you." Seth, son of Nut, came forward. "I am the strongest of the gods. Every day at dawn and sunset, I stand at the helm of the sunboat, and with my spear I ward off the attacks of Apophis, the serpent of darkness. If it were not for me, Apophis would devour the sunboat. No other god dares do what I do." Seth, son of Nut, came forward. Sorry, I've jumped back in time. Dear goddess. The gods all said, "That is true. Seth is right." Baba, the ram god, said, "Shall we give the throne of Egypt to a boy while his older relative, a man who can rule, is here?" Thoth said, "Shall we give the throne to the uncle while the son is alive?" "This is not fair," falcon-faced Horus protested. "You are mistreating me and cheating me of my father's throne." Then Isis began to swear. "By my mother Neith, I shall take this matter to the sunboat. I will go to Atum in his form of Khepri, the becoming one, and he will see that justice prevails. My husband has been murdered. Have you all forgotten who united the two lands? Have you forgotten who brought order and abundance to Egypt? Who gave you food to eat and beer to drink? Osiris taught the people to serve and honour you, and now you refuse to honour his son. When will justice be heard?" Isis, Isis, the gods tried to quiet her. "Be calm. The one who is right will be given his due." Then Seth shouted, Excuse me. "If this woman is not forced to leave the court, I will take my spear, weighing 4,500 pounds, and ram it through one of you every day." Re said, "The assembly is over. Go to the island in the midst and decide among yourselves. And tell the ferryman not to transport any woman across the water who looks in any way like Isis." The gods crossed over to the island in the midst and began to eat bread. Isis went to the ferryman. She had changed herself into a bent old woman. She wore a gold ring on her hand. She spoke in a low, cracked voice. "I am bringing a jar of barley to my young son, who has been looking after cattle on the island for the past 5 days. He is very hungry." The ferryman said, "I have been told to ferry no woman across the water." Were you not told to ferry no woman who looks like Isis? All women resemble Isis. What will you give me if I take you across the water? I will give you a loaf of bread. Ha! A loaf of bread. What is a loaf of bread to me when I have been told to ferry no woman across the water, and you are wearing a gold ring? Then I will give you the gold ring. The ferryman took the ring and rowed her across to the island in the midst. Isis tripped across the sands to the trees. Through the trees she saw the gods sitting and feasting in the arbour of the Master of the universe. Then, with her magic, she transformed herself into a young woman with a slender and inviting figure, a woman so beguiling, so tempting, that no one who saw her could resist her. She stepped out from behind the trees. Seth was the only one who saw her. His eyes opened, his loins stirred. Quickly, Seth got up and went toward her. He hid behind a tree near her and whispered, "Young woman, come closer. I want to speak to you. Wait, stop, do not flee. You are as beautiful as a goddess. Wait, tell me your name." Then Isis stopped flitting from tree to tree and walked demurely toward him. She tilted her head and spoke shyly. "Kind Lord, please help me. I am a poor widow. I was married to a cowherd and bore him a son. When the boy's father died, the child looked after his father's cattle. Then a stranger came and stayed with me, but now the stranger has told my son, 'I want your father's cattle and I will take them. As for you, I will beat you and chase you away.' Oh, kind Lord, I hope you will be my son's champion. What can I do to persuade you?" "This is not just," Seth cried indignantly. "No stranger should inherit a man's cattle while the son is alive. I will strike the stranger in the face and give the cattle to your son." "Yah!" Isis let out a shriek. She threw up her arms and, transforming herself into a kite, perched in the branches of an acacia tree, shouting, "It is done. Justice has been spoken. Seth, you have judged yourself. You have judged yourself. Weep now for the cleverness of your own words." Oh, dear goddess. Seth burst into tears. Whimpering, he returned to Re. "What is it now?" Re asked. "Father, she has done it again. She has tricked me. She changed herself into a shy, beautiful woman. Who could resist her? She said to me, 'I am a poor widow. My husband died and my son was taking care of the cattle, but then a stranger came and wanted to keep the cattle for himself and to throw out my son.' This is what she said." "And what did you reply?" Ray asked. "Yes, what did I say? I said, 'It is not right to give the cattle to a stranger when the son of the father is still alive.' I said I would strike the stranger in the face and set the son in the father's place." "Oh, my son, you have judged yourself," Ray said. "Since you have judged yourself, what can I do for you?" Punish the ferryman, bring him to court, and let him be asked, why did you ferry that woman across the water? So the ferryman was brought to court and tried. His toes were cut off as a punishment for his greed, and the gold became an abomination to him forever. The gods crossed over to the other side of the river and journeyed south along the Nile. They sat near a mountain by the shore and watched the hippopotamuses, although when I was a child it was hippopotami. They watched them sink under the water. They watched the bubbles rise to the top, and they took bets as to which hippopotamus would stay down the longest. Then Ray sent them a message. He said, "What are you doing? These two will spend the rest of their lives wrangling while you watch the bubbles rise and fall. Seth has already judged himself. When my letter reaches you, give the double crown of Egypt to Horus." The gods said, "Ray is right. Ray has given his decree. Horus shall be given the throne of Osiris." The gods were about to place the crown on Horus's head when Seth shouted, "No! Not while I am alive. Not while the defender of the kingdom is alive will you place the crown on the child's head. Look at the mama's boy. Why, he never leaves his mother's side. Upstart brat. Are you afraid to be tested? Let us change ourselves into hippopotamuses, and the one who stays down under the water 3 months shall be king." "I am not afraid," Horus cried. Then the two changed themselves into hippopotamuses and dove into the water. Isis shouted, "He will kill my son! Seth will kill my son!" She ran about on the shore weeping, but since the others ignored her, she took action. She braided hemp into a rope, pounded metal to make a harpoon's head, and attached the rope to the harpoon. Then she threw the cable into the water. The barb struck Horus. "Mother!" Horus shouted. "It's me! You have hit me! Release the barb! It's your son, Horus!" "Barb," Isis said, "release him! It is my son, Horus." The barb rose from the water and Isis cast it again. The barb pierced the body of Seth. "What have you done?" Seth cried out. "Sister, order your barb to release me. I am not a stranger. I am your brother. We have the same mother. Our mother cared for me as she cared for you." Isis was jolted. Seth was her enemy, but Seth was also the son of her mother. As she had loved and cared for Horus, so had Nut loved and cared for Seth. Seth called to her again, "Isis, release the barb, release the barb. I am the son of your mother. I am your brother." Isis said, "Barb, release him. He is my brother Seth." Then Horus rose from the water full of rage. His face was as savage as a panther from Upper Egypt. He went onto the shore, and took an axe, a great axe. He swung the axe and cut off the head of his mother. Then he rushed up the side of the mountain, weeping. The gods watched in astonishment. Ray said, Who was that woman? Isis had changed herself into a statue of flint without a head. My Lord Re, Thoth said, it is the mighty Isis. In his anger, Horus cut off her head. Then Thoth placed a helmet in the shape of a cow's head on Isis's shoulders, and the horns became her crown. Re said, find Horus and punish him for this horrendous deed. The gods climbed the mountain looking for Horus. Seth found Horus hiding under a shenusha tree in an oasis. He threw Horus to the ground and tore out his eyes. In the night, Horus's 2 eyes shone up at Seth. Seth buried them in the earth. Then he went down the mountain. When the gods questioned him, he lied and said, could not find him. At dawn, in the place where Seth had buried Horus's eyes, 2 white lilies grew. Horus did not return. The gods were uneasy. Then the goddess Hathor went up the mountain to look for Horus. She found him lying near the shenusha tree, gasping in pain. She went into the desert. She caught a gazelle, an animal of Seth, and milked it. Then she said to Horus, open your eyes and I will put in these drops. She put 2 drops of gazelle's milk in his right eye and 2 drops in his left eye. Then she said to Horus, close your eyes. Horus closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he could see. Hathor returned to the gods and said, I found Horus. Seth had torn out his eyes, and he was in great pain, but I have restored his sight. The gods waited. After a time, Horus returned, and the gods said, let us go back to Heliopolis. In the court, Re spoke to Horus and Seth and said, enough! Stop your fighting! Eat, drink, spend your days in peace. Yes, Seth agreed. It is enough. Come, brother, I will make a banquet for you at my house. Spend a happy day with me. Yes, Horus said, it is time to do so. Seth and Horus feasted all day. That night a bed was spread for them and they lay down together. In the night, Seth stroked his phallus and it became stiff. He placed his phallus between the loins of Horus. But Horus was awake and put his hand between his legs and caught Seth's semen. In the morning, Horus went to his mother, who was walking by the Nile. Isis's head had been restored, but she still wore cow's horns as a crown. Horus said to her, Mother, look what Seth has done to me. He opened his hand and showed her Seth's semen. Isis cried out in horror. She seized her knife and cut off Horus's hand and threw it into the water. Then she drew out another hand for Horus and spread some sweet ointment on Horus's penis. The penis became stiff. She put a jar over it and caught Horus's semen. She took the semen to Seth's house and asked the gardener, What is Seth's favourite plant? Lettuce, the gardener said. Seth prefers lettuce. So Isis spread Horus's semen on the lettuces. Later that afternoon, Seth came home and ate lettuce and became pregnant with Horus's semen. The next day, Seth said to Horus, "Let us go to court, for there is more to be said." "Willingly," Horus agreed. They went to court, and Re said, "Speak, both of you." Seth began, "Let the throne of Egypt be given to me, for the other man standing before you is not a man. She is a woman. Last night Horus played the slave girl as I performed the work of a man." When they heard this, the gods laughed and belched and spat at Horus, but Horus also laughed. Then he said, Yes, it is true. One man is standing before you, and also one woman. But look again for the woman. The woman, Seth, is lying. Summon our seed, and you will see who is the man and who is the woman. Thoth, the god of justice, put his hand on Horus's arm and said, "Seed of Seth, come forth." "Here," a faint voice spoke. "Where?" asked the gods, turning around. "Here," the faint voice spoke again. The gods began to search the assembly hall. "Here," the voice said. "Here." The gods wandered out of the court toward the river. "Here I am," the voice was louder. They found the seed of Seth in the water, and they laughed. Then they returned to court. Thoth put his hand on Seth's arm and said, "Seed of Horus, come forth." The seed of Horus said, "Where shall I give birth?" "On Seth's ear," one of the gods said. The seed objected. "That is not a proper place for a divine seed." "Then from his forehead," Thoth said. But the seed of Horus had a mind of its own and emerged as a beautiful light on the top of Seth's head. Seth was angry and tried to brush it off. Thoth took the golden light and put it on his own head, and it became his crown. The gods then called out, "Horus is right, Seth is wrong." But before they could give the crown to Horus, Seth cried, "The court shall not give the crown to Horus until he has fought with me." "Willingly," Horus said. Seth said, "We will make stone ships and race them. Whoever wins shall be king." Horus secretly made a cedar ship, which he covered with gypsum. At sunset, he set it by the shore. The next morning, when Seth saw Horus's ship, he thought it was stone. So he climbed a great mountain and cut off its peak. From the peak, he carved a gigantic stone ship. The gods assembled. The ships were pushed out into the water. Seth's ship sank immediately. Horus's ship floated. Seth disappeared. Then a hippopotamus rose from the water and turned Horus's ship over. Horus took a barb and threw it at the hippopotamus. "No, Horus," the gods cried. "You are right, but do not kill Seth." Horus shouted, "What kind of court is this? For 80 years I have been fighting for my father's throne. For 80 years my mother has waited for my father to be avenged. For 80 years I have been told, Horus is right, Seth is wrong, and still I have not been given the throne. I will not wait for justice from this court. I will go to the divine mother, Neith. Thoth said, this can go on no longer. Egypt has been without a king for 80 years. Strife and disorder rule the two lands. Re, send a letter to Osiris. Let him judge between them. Write to Osiris, Re commanded Thoth. When the letter was read to Osiris in the underworld, he gave a great shout. He replied at once, Re, why do you mistreat my son? I am the one who made you strong. I am the one who nourished you and your gods with barley and emmer. Re told Thoth to reply with these words, Osiris, if you had never come into existence, if you had never been born, barley and emmer would still exist. Osiris answered, Re, what you have created is good, but as for justice, it has disappeared from the earth. Yet, where I live, there are savage-faced messengers who fear neither God nor goddess. If I send them, they will bring me the heart of anyone who does wrong. Re, when you created the stars, did you not tell them that they would find their resting place with me? When you created the gods, did you not tell them that they would find... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it is repeated. Yes. Did you not tell the gods that... I'm getting gefunzelt. When you created the gods and the stars, did you not tell them that they would find their resting place with me? Since all of you must come before me, why do you act as if your deeds will not be weighed? When the gods heard this, they said, Osiris is right, Horus is right, Seth is wrong. But Seth said in a low voice, let Horus fight with me on the island in the midst. They went to the island in the midst. They wrestled. At first, Seth pinned Horus. Then Horus slipped out of Seth's grasp. Then Horus pinned Seth. After all these years, Seth was not as agile or quick as he had been, and Horus held Seth fast. Seth could not defeat Horus. Re then summoned Isis to Heliopolis and said, bring Seth to me bound in ropes. Isis removed her cow's horns and chose to wear a golden crown. For the first time in many years, she dressed herself in fine linen clothes and jewellery. She led her husband's enemy, bound like a prisoner, to the court of Re. Re spoke to Seth and said, why do you insist on force? Why do you refuse the judgment you yourself made? Father, I accept the judgment. Let the throne of Isis be given to Horus, the son of Isis. Horus was brought to court. Thoth placed the double crown, the crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, on Horus's head. Horus mounted the steps and sat on the throne of his father. The gods knelt before him and said, you will be king of the two lands. You will be king forever, to the end. Isis' heart was swelling with joy. She said to Horus, Osiris is at peace. The gods will serve you. Govern the people wisely, nourish the people, and be guided by the holy eye of the Lady of the Crown. Thoth said, Horus has been given the crown. What shall be given to Seth? Re said, Seth, the son of Nut, will be my son. He will stay with me. He will be the thunder that roars in the sky, and all the people will fear him. Rejoice, rejoice, the gods cried. Rejoice throughout the land before Horus, the son of Isis. The gods placed garlands of flowers around Horus's neck. Falcon-faced, Horus was strewn with lotus blossoms and mallote flowers. Isis cried, Horus is king. Heaven is filled with joy. The earth rejoices. Horus has been given the throne of his father, Osiris, my husband. Horus is king. Then Horus, the king of Egypt, sent a message to his father in the underworld. My father, the gates of the sky are open. The gates of the sky are flung wide open. Listen to what I have done for you. I have struck the one who struck you. I have bound the one who bound you. Seth will now serve you. Seth's breeze will carry your boat across the water. Sorrow is at an end in the two lands. Rise, my father. The gods are dancing for you. They strike their flesh. They clap their hands. They loosen their hair. They crouch. They leap. They say, Rise, Osiris. You went away, but now you have returned. Rise, Osiris. You were asleep, but now you are awake. Rise, Osiris. You died, but now you live again. You rise from the earth, the plant of life. You strengthen the people. You sustain the living. The love of you is in the fields, in the water, in the sky. Isis did not forget you. She searched the earth until she found you. She gathered together your flesh. She rejoices for the life which rises once again from you. Isis is now content. Sorrow is at an end in the two lands. Rise, my father. Osiris then took his place on the sunboat. Isis and Horus went to the temple of Heliopolis, which had been built on the first hill. Horus lifted up the fallen jet pillar of Osiris, and it stood erect. Isis wrapped her red shawl in a tiet knot around the pillar. She blessed Horus, and as she did so, she placed Re's secret name in his heart. And thus concludes the beautiful story of Isis and Osiris. Goddess bless you all and all manifestations of planet Earth may peace reign in all worlds, paradigms, echelons, in all societies, in all nations, in all dimensions, in all universes, according to the theory of the multiverse. Let peace reign. Let love forever be the guiding post of the hearts of all sentient living beings and those living in life beyond life. Let love replenish our earth. Let love flow in abundance, in joy and bliss and peace. Let love be the law, love under will. Let truest, deepest lovers find their way together, with harm to none, in competition with none. So may it one day be done. Well, in my own little psychedelic dreaming anyway. Oh, Tiny's violin. Delete, 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 delete. But on the other hand, there are many, many forms of love, and I have been blessed with so much love in recent months and years, and I'm grateful and happy, and freedom is my highest value of all, even beyond love. So it is what it is, people. Some things are decreed by the gods. Goddess bless regardless. Have a beautiful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are on planet Earth in the space-time continuum, or wherever my wonderful subscribers and followers are, even in the interdimensional entities and other vortices of time and space. Wherever you are, I bid you good evening. Bye for now from Titania's realm, sacred space.